Alright, so good morning and welcome to another video. Today we have a shoe that I'm very interested in, and that is the Cloudboom Strike from On. Now what we have on the menu today is a moderate 50 minutes, so it's not quite an easy run, but it's not quite tempo either. I'll admit that this is not the ideal test for a carbon racing shoe, but yeah, I'm putting a reasonable pace into this, so it's enough to sort of give me an idea of this shoe and make this a valid first impressions video. Now one thing I find a bit annoying, to be honest, is when you're watching YouTube reviews on this company, you would get the impression that this is like the worst company ever. These are like casual shoes. There's just so much hate for them, and I genuinely don't really understand that, because On does make good running shoes. I mean, they have a few mediocre ones and a few genuinely bad ones. But yeah, this Cloudboom Strike is definitely not a casual shoe. Now one thing I'm noticing right off the bat here is that the fit on this is a bit baggy. There's just a lot of material to this upper. You can see that when I pull in these laces a bit more, that there's already some bunching going on here. Plus I find this shoe runs about half size too long. You could probably pretty safely go half size down on this one. Now this midsole is very interesting because it has this insert here, and this is not your traditional sock liner. This is actually a piece of Pebax foam, which makes up like half the midsole, and you can see that this is basically sitting right on top of the carbon plate here. And there are a few theories on this, and to be honest, I'm not quite sure that I really understand the purpose of this. I mean, some people say that it's to pass around World Athletics stack height regulations, but World Athletics is not stupid, are they? And surely when they measure this shoe, they will know that this is actually part of the midsole here and needs to be considered. So I think I won't actually give an opinion on the purpose of this. So a couple minutes into my run, and boy, this is a soft forefoot. Wow, I really love it actually. Yeah, holy crap, this forefoot feels amazing. Like, the cushioning is just so sort of deep, but at the same time has very nice kind of bounce back. Like, you're not just squishing into it, but actually getting quite a lot of return, and wow, it is very fun to run in. One sort of interesting thing about this shoe that you can't help but notice, where are the clouds on this one? This is just a piece of foam now, and I just find it interesting as it's basically been their signature tech here, and they're almost non-existent now. I mean, you just have these little dimples here that do nothing, but at the same time I feel like it's actually a good move for the brand, because this is Pebax foam and a carbon plate, and this combination is just infinitely better than just sort of drilling some holes into the shoe. Okay, going uphill here, and this is always a good section of the run to talk about weight. This shoe is 182 grams in my size 40, and just for comparison, Vaporfly models are all around 175 and Alpha Flies are around 190, so it sits nicely in there, and this is certainly one of the lighter carbon road racing shoes I've tried. One thing I'm noticing with this shoe, and let me just stop at this hole here, this is kind of a flat shoe actually, so there's not a lot of rocker geometry to it. Yeah, it's an interesting setup, and one that I can't really compare right now to any of the other carbon race shoes I've tried, because it sort of relies on you to really plunge into this cushioning in the forefoot and get this kind of bounce effect back. And I find that, well, after 15 minutes of total running, not really the be-all end-all opinion here, but it's kind of nice in a way. Okay, so I'm not actually considering this as part of my run here. Let's see that I've paused this. Just want to show you this cool tower sort of structure here. I've actually run in quite a few On shoes in the past. Yeah, some of them are a bit crappy, but one thing that On always excels at is this attention to detail. Just this heel cushion here has this very interesting texture where you have this bit of resistance, like when your foot is going out of the shoe, but feels very smooth when you're going into the shoe. Also, On gives us these interesting laces, and you probably can't see this, but they feel like standard laces on one side, and the other side has this rubbery coating here. So I assume that's to help keep them tight, like Nike he does with these ribbed kind of laces. And yeah, this is not like a major kind of feature of the shoe. It's just sort of these cool little details that they include, and makes the price of these shoes a bit easier to swallow when you feel like there's actually been taken real care into designing the shoe. Alright, so 40 minutes into my run, and I think I'll have to relace this thing, as I'm getting quite a bit of pressure on my foot right here from these laces, and also feel like I'm getting a bit of a blister in my right heel. So yeah, this upper so far not really working out that well for me. Yeah, I'm not losing hope on that. I mean, you know how this goes. You sort of adjust to the shoe over time and dial in the lacing a bit. Yeah, so far midsole is pretty amazing, but upper a bit questionable. Now On also makes this shoe as a very cool looking laceless model called the Cloudboom Strike LS, where LS stands for light spray. So it's like a sprayed kind of upper material, which is very intriguing to me, as it actually saves quite a bit of weight on a shoe that is already pretty light. But I'm sort of a bit hesitant with that, because it's a very new shoe and there are no long-term reviews on that. And I feel like with a laceless shoe, if the upper sort of stretches a bit over time, then you're basically screwed, right? Because it's kind of what it is. I mean, you can't really adjust it anymore. Run done. And I was sort of thinking to myself the whole time, what shoe does this remind me of the most? And I think it's the Adios Pro 3, but this is a bit, well, actually it's quite considerably lighter than that one and has more cushion in the forefoot, but it has the same sort of very mellow and forgiving kind of ride characteristic with a not too aggressive carbon plate. Yeah, I would honestly say it's like a direct upgrade to that one. I mean, the upper on that one was really horrible, and this one is not ideal either, but definitely an improvement. And just the ride is so much more pleasant and more fun to run in. Yeah, I think that sort of concludes my first thoughts on the Cloudboom Strike here. Alright, so on that note, I'll just say thank you very much for watching. I'm very, very glad that I got to test this shoe. And yeah, like and subscribe, and see you on the next video then. Bye bye.